Hello everyone and welcome back. So it would turn out that season 2 has continued of Toilet Bound Hanako, and this would be the continuation of season 2. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the continuation of season 2, episode 13. The anime begins with Nene catching everybody up. She does a brief recap in case anybody has forgotten what had happened, and it's good so we can refresh everyone's memories. After the recap, we see her asking Hanako and Ko for assistance for her school finals, and then we get right into the opening, which I want to discuss. The opening was really amazing, and I loved how it gave us some extra hints as to where this arc will be headed. So we can see the red house, and then we can see Aoi feeling a little disconnected from everybody around her. And my favorite part is that we can see Katakuri in the opening. And then we also get a brief picture of Hanako and little Tsukasa and his parents. And then of course again we see evil Tsukasa as a child. Going back into the episode's discussion, Nene finishes her recap. She mentions to Ko and Hanako that she needs help studying for her finals, so that she doesn't need to be stuck in remedial classes over the summer. We're shown that Teru is listening, and that gives him the idea to go into the council room and kind of pick a little fight, a playful fight with Akane about Aoi and studying. And it's here that we already see some changes that Studio Lerche has already made. Teru is shown across the restroom on the staircase listening to the conversation, versus in the manga, he's literally outside of the girls' restroom leaning against the wall, listening to the conversation going on inside. As he goes to the council room, the anime kind of plays it out more or less exactly the same as it does in the manga, but again, Studio Lerche goes ahead and makes another small change. And instead of Akane being suspended from the prayer beads, he is still suspended, but he is totally suspended in a completely different way than shown in the manga. Again, that part isn't really a big deal, but we're already seeing some changes that Studio Lerche is throwing in here. As Teru explains himself, and as we go into Akane picturing the wedding, Studio Lerche leaves out some minor details as we can see Teru's test score and placement in school, as well as Akane. And as we continue to be introduced to more characters, we can also see the scores of Aoi, Nene, and Lemon. As Aoi tries to break Akane out of his frantic studying spell, he turns her down, and as he turns her down, it shocks the rest of the class. But in the anime, the class isn't as shocked as the way they're depicted in the manga, as we can see Lemon snapping photos of what is happening. As we're shown everybody procrastinating and not studying, Nene is shown washing her hamster cage in the bathroom, and the manga shows her washing it in the kitchen sink. And although this wasn't shown in the manga, I do love the addition of a tiara. Then we see Aoi and Akane studying, and Aoi wishes him good luck. We're left out a small panel, which would be the teacher asking if everybody is ready and has an answer sheet, and then he says begin. We see Akane taking his test very seriously, and as that happens in the manga, it's also kind of left out the sort of words that he used to encourage himself to do good on the test, which kind of takes away from Akane's personality. When it comes time to brag about their testing scores, Akane is shown just kind of standing there and holding it out for him to see, versus in the manga, he's quite literally rubbing it in his face. Teru responds by slapping the paper out of Akane's hands, and then he begins to walk over towards him, and he seems very threatening, at least in the manga he does. As he then shocks Akane, it's also shown that he is right literally in his face as he does so. Teru then encounters Aoi in the hallways, and to me in the anime, his eyes just seem a little dull and dead and very creepy, and in the manga he kind of has that goofy look that he pretends to have. We're shown that Ko and Nene pass and they're safe from remedial classes. We then get into the singing part, which I actually really liked in the anime. I loved how we could hear the singing, which added to the creepiness that this arc is going to start taking. Now, there are just a few more changes that had occurred in this episode. For example, the anime left out the point where Nene thinks summer vacation is ready to begin, but Aoi corrects her, stating it's after tomorrow that the school sleepover begins. happens, which should lead into her then telling Hanako all about the school sleepover. Nene begs Hanako that she really wants to go, and we're only shown the Moges sharing a drink, and in the manga we're actually shown that Nene is sort of pulling on Hanako, and that's when she's holding his hands and she says that she gets to see him at night. And we can also see a little bit of a slight fluster on Hanako's face. Another panel that was cut is when Nene is telling everyone how the students are coming onto campus with all of their things and preparing for the night ahead. As Nene and Aoi work together on their vegetables for the curry, Nene begins to hear the flute and she begins to look around. However, we're already seeing some cut environment, and in the manga there's shown to be much more going on around her and she looks more flustered by what she hears. As Lemon shouts that the curry is burning, only Nene runs off to go assist, leaving Aoi behind. But in the manga, both Aoi and Nene are running off to go assist with the curry, which shows us then how the students are sharing it and how they're complementing the work that they've done together despite the fact that it's been burnt. There's also another cut panel from the anime as we're shown how the middle schoolers are on the committee and setting everything up, and they introduce themselves and what's going to happen tonight, versus the anime just sort of jumps right on into the basket weaving. Aoi begins to tell her scary stories and how death or the Shinigami are going to come for anybody who hears the flute. Of course, this scares Nene, who is close to death, and she runs off, and we're only shown the characters just sort of looking at her as she runs out the door, and in the manga they're shown kind of making comments about why she's leaving so quickly to the restroom. Nene soon runs into Akane, and as she's about to ask for help, they're interrupted by a supernatural that attacks them. I did like how the anime threw in this extra bit of Akane giving the supernatural this box to smash before it leads into Akane delivering his powerful kick that ends up defeating the supernatural. But of course, the supernaturals are not defeated, and Nene brings this to Akane's attention. We're shown a barrier being set up in the anime, which I didn't appreciate because it takes away the surprise, versus the manga we can see number 6 appearing behind Akane before he reaches out and grabs both him and Nene. Nene then begins to comment how the hands are draining all of her energy, but in the manga she is shown making some extra comments about how Akane had defeated the previous supernatural, and suddenly this new one shows up, and who might this new supernatural be? In the anime, Nene is shown laying on the ground, but in the manga she isn't. She's sort of awake and conscious, looking at number 6 destroy all of the other extra supernaturals. As number 6 begins to look at them and comment on how he wants to go ahead and eat the two of them, he sort of saunters over while looking menacing, versus in the manga he just sort of kind of looks like he's a little bit not playful, but he's a little bit coy with the fact of what he's going to do with the two of them. Number 6 senses Aoi's aura, and as she runs over, the anime just sort of has her look stiff as she's running over, and the way that number 6 appears before her, it definitely feels less creepy than it did in the manga. He definitely looks larger and definitely more menacing. Akane uses his clock and stops time to prevent number 6 from getting any closer, which leads to him attacking number 6 and delivering another powerful kick. But in the manga, he is shown standing in front of Aoi in a protective stance. Aoi walks over to him and sort of draws Akane's attention away from number 6, but in the anime as she does this, it's shown that she is such a distraction for Akane as he looks at her very surprised and blushing and begins trying to explain himself, which did not occur in the anime. It would have made more sense if it did, because that explains how number 6 got such an easy advantage over Akane. As Aoi is getting spirited away, Akane tries to defend her, trying to get her back, but of course it doesn't happen in time and she is spirited away. This leads us into the ending of the episode, as well into the ending credits. As we look at the ending credits, I absolutely love how we can see baby Amane and baby Tsukasa in front of the TV watching the scenes that were happening in the episode play out on their little TV. But I felt the song was a little too happy pitched, bubbly, and just just not really fitting the theme that this arc is supposed to be about, because this arc is supposed to be getting into the darker parts of the series, and it just doesn't fit to me. The next episode is supposed to be titled The Near Shore and the Far Shore, and in that background we can see Aoi and number 6, and that's this panel that I pulled from the manga. For episode 14, I do not know if all of this will be cut or not, but just in case, I wanted to include it here in my video because the anime ended, but the chapter surely didn't. And because of that, these panels might be included in episode 14 as it sort of delves more into what's going on and why the other school mysteries are suddenly concerned. Aside from all of that, it also leads into Aoi speaking with number 6 and what her fate is going to be now that she's been spirited away to this boundary. And this is probably going to be in episode 14, and I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, and I'm sure this will be in the opening of the anime, and none of this will be cut. So I'm just throwing this in here to help you guys get a better view of what's coming up, and yeah, hopefully none of this gets cut out because Studio Lerche is already starting to make some changes, and that's already on the second core of season 2. So I don't have high hopes for this anime being well adapted. While I am happy that the anime is in production and being produced and we are drawing more attention to the manga, I really wish a different studio would have picked it up, because from here on out things are going to get darker and darker, especially after this arc. And I really do not want Studio Lerche in charge of this anime. I know people love it and I love it too, but when it comes to anime versus manga, I would much rather read the manga than watch the anime, because the anime just loses so much of what made it amazing in manga form. And that's why I wish a different studio would pick it up, because I feel a different studio would keep in these important details that Studio Lerche continues to cut out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be back next week with episode 14 as we discuss what else has been changed. See you guys next week, and thank you again for watching.